Hi guys, we're back again for part 4 of our weathering tutorial on how to weather structures for garden rivets. Okay, if you remember where we left off last night, we used a gray wash and we washed all of the sides of the building, the roof, the deck, basically everything except for the underneath. And what we're doing is we're taking down the white tone a little bit. We were also starting to give the building an aged look. Okay, and as we go, we will continue to add to that aged look. We also added a little bit of black along the bottom part, and then as we wiped, we faded upwards to fade that in. And the reason that being is because as the dirt and the water and stuff splashes off and gets kicked up off, it's going to collect more on the bottom, and the bottom's going to age harder. Okay. So tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to start narrowing down our weathering a little bit. Okay. So far we've done an overall effect. Now we're going to start working on areas. And tonight we're going to start at the top and work our way down. So we're going to start with the roof. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll get you up on a stand so you can get a better look at the roof, and then we'll talk about what we're doing and get started. Okay, so we get you up on the stand. We're looking down on our roof now. Okay. And now as we start to weather, we want to weather from the top down. Okay, because if things splatter, I don't want things done down here and then drip onto it and wreck that spot. So a roof is never a monotone color. Okay, go out and look at a roof on an old structure that has not been maintained for a while, and the roof will have dark spots and light spots all over the place. Okay, you will also have spots where if you have a tree, where the tree sap will drip on it, and over time that sap will eventually run down and it will keep building and keep building, and it will wreck your roof. Also, this being the north side, if I was in a spot where I didn't get a lot of sunlight on this roof, this side would actually grow a little bit of moss. Okay, now I don't know if we'll simulate that, but in my world, there's going to be, when I'm put this on the railroad, I plan to have a couple trees in this area, so we're going to do the tree effect on this side and probably up here in the corner of this side in here. Alright, now this house does not have a chimney on it yet, but I will be building one in the future. I'm going to try Dennis's Sculptamold and build a chimney, and we'll put that up the back here, and when we add that in, we'll put the appropriate weathering. It'll probably stand somewhere right here where the stick is, and we'll put the appropriate weathering in at that time. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start dry brushing some couple different brown tones on here. Alright? What we have here is a dark brown and a light brown. Alright? I'm going to back you up here a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. But basically what I'm going to do is just dip my brush in the paint and then work a lot of it back off on the plate. Okay? And what I want to do is just start picking spots at random and pulling this paint that's on the brush back off. Okay? And this is why it's called dry brushing, because there's not very much paint on here, as you can see. Right? And what it's doing is it's leaving subtle effects on your roof, not heavy, harsh effects like you went in here with a wet, heavy painted brush and started throwing paint on. And again, just like all the other weathering techniques, this is done to your taste. Okay, you can put on heavier spots or lighter spots in different locations, all to what you think looks good. If you get a spot like this one, where you think you put too much paint on it, just keep pulling it out. And eventually, it will disappear and work its way in. It won't completely disappear. It'll work its way in. It'll lighten up a little bit. Now, I'm not using my big brush. This is a 1-inch brush. Okay, because we've kind of gotten past the point where we want to get big areas. Now we want to start getting smaller areas. And you'll notice that I'm starting from the top and working my way down. And I'm not reloading the paintbrush and putting paint on the bottom, because on a roof where it's angled, stuff hits top, works down. Now, as we go towards a little bit later, we will start not starting at the peak, but we will always start at the high spot and work down. Okay, and I want a fairly good spot right here. So I'm going to load this spot right here a little bit better. And then start to drag her out. Okay, so there we've got some color in the roof starting at the peak. And we're going to put a couple here along the mid line. You can see we started at the top, pulled down. Now we're going to put other colors on this, so we don't want to overdo one color. But if you get a spot that you think has got too much of that color on, that's alright. We'll overlay another color over top of it and start to blend it out. Okay, there we go. I'm going to put one more spot on here. Let's see, right here. For those of you that are old Joy of Painting Bob Ross fans, we have a happy little stain living right here. I'm going to pull him down. Sorry, I don't have a squirrel to show you, or an easel to beat my paintbrush on. Alright, so that's where we're going to stop with this color on this side. We're going to turn the building around and do the other side. Alright, again, I'm going to start at the eave line. Now what I want to do is kind of look at where my stains are heaviest on the eave on this side and mirror them to this side. Because usually whatever hits the roof will fall both ways. Okay, now it may fall heavier to one side, or it may not, whichever way you want it to be. Go right in here. Color heavy on the top, pull her out. And all of this dark transition to light will give you a realistic look on the way that the roof is going to weather. Okay? Because if you look at a roof, it's not going like this, it's going up and down. And anything that falls on the roof isn't going down, it's going to go up. Or excuse me, isn't going to go up, it's going to go down. Well, I got that backwards, didn't I? So there we go. There's our stains across the top of the roof. Now we'll add a couple towards the mid to lower sections. Get a good one right here, because remember, this is where I said there was going to be a tree over here. We're going to darken this a little bit. And I'm just going to slightly drag up just to fade out where my brush lands. There we go. Don't want to do too much in the upward direction. But we're going to let this one go right off the roof. Okay? And don't be worried if your brush comes around the end of the eave. Just don't get crazy and put a big streak down there by your house. And since I said there was a tree over here, we're going to continue to add to this area. And when you think about this, when I say there's a tree over here, this is a tree in the scale model railroad world, okay? It's not a 80-foot oak tree that you have in the real world, okay? When I plant this thing on the layout, when I build one, and plant the trees that will be the layout trees, which will be a miniature scaled evergreen, we will plant them in this, plant one in this location. Okay. I didn't wipe the brush quite enough here, so we're just going to continue to work this stain until I blend it out. Now I want the stain to stay dark, but I'm going to make her a little bit wider and a little bit taller. Now the reason we go up at the end is because I don't want the bristle marks where the brush was hitting going down. Alright, so there's that area. Okay? Now the porch is going to be darker. Make sure I got you in here where you can see that. The porch is going to be darker. Why is the porch going to be darker? The slope is less. So whatever lands on the porch is going to be on the porch longer. Okay? Also, and we will do this with a smaller brush when we get in here, the porch will be darker right up in this area, because that's where the dirt's going to come down and collect and then pull out. I'm going to go ahead and dab that color in right there and begin to pull her down. And again, if you put down a little bit of color and you start to pull with your brush and it doesn't look like it's doing anything, keep going. And you will start to slowly see it will transition out. Your paint dabbing lines will become softer because you are slowly drying the paint as you're pulling it, which will soften your lines. And there we go. There's our first color. Okay? And we didn't overdo it, but as you can see, there's plenty of tone to this. Okay? Now, we're not going to clean our brush. We're going to go in here with this lighter color And we're going to go into it, pull her out, kind of run her around in what we got here. We don't want quite that light of color, although we will put a little bit of that on there. There we go. Alright, now I got a lot of paint in this brush. I gotta work back out. We're just going to kind of come in areas besides and again, high to low. Maybe this one right here had a good stain on it. Remember, these are happy little stains. Okay, now say this one here is a little dark for your taste. Now, very little paint. I'm just going to drag him through, working back in, just like that. Okay? Alright. And again, I'm going to turn the roof. And don't worry if you mix colors and you run out and you gotta mix another load and you're worried that it's going to come out exactly the same. Don't worry about that. Okay? Colors change. Stains change color. But again, we're looking at the light stain that we started with at the peak, mirroring it across. And there we go. Put a couple in the midline. And again, we will use this mixture to soften this harsh dark stain out a little bit. And work it in. We want it seen. We don't want it to jump out and bite you. There we go. One thing about these cheap brushes, they tend to leave their, or at least their hairs. Now again, all we're doing, blending here. Not going to get too light on this because this porch roof, like I said, is going to be darker because whatever was on it will have a tendency to be here longer. Okay? Now, you'll notice that I'm doing this. I also had a few brush dabbles. That's okay because when it rains, whatever dirt is here, when the rain hits it, it's going to splash it up. So you're going to have a little bit of a dirt spot. Maybe the bottom one or two pieces of siding. Harsher on the bottom, fade in as you go. Okay? And just like that, our roof is starting to show some signs of life. Now, we're going to take a smaller brush. Go ahead and wash this one out. We won't need it anymore. I'm going to take a smaller brush and we're going to do it again. This time we're going to get a little more precise in where I want it to go. Okay, so this right here, this board here, is in bad shape. And as you do this, you might start to notice that some of your darker shadow washes that you put on yesterday disappear. That's nothing we're going to worry about, because we will put a dark wash all over this thing in the end, which will take all these colors and tie them all together. And that'll be one of the very last things we do. Okay? It will not only tie your colors together, it will blend them. If I got that, we can see it. You cannot see my viewfinder on my phone. Alright, there we go. And we're going to do the same thing. Move my phone over here so I can see it all the time. Do the same thing with the light color. This time we're not going to spin it, but we're going to make sure that we don't have very much on here. Okay? We're just going to do a couple small spots. Say here in the middle. Okay, see how harsh that went down? Just work up and down, up and down. And I got about what I want. Not too much right there. Just move the. There we go. And I'm going to lighten the touch on the brush. I don't want any more paint coming out of the brush. I want the bristles to do the work now. And if you get a spot like that one, if you think there's too much, you can take a completely dry brush, and preferably one that's a little bit harder, and we just worked him right in there. Now, as you can see, there's a light spot there, but remember when I first hit it, it was really light, and we worked that out. When we haven't worked it out, we worked it in. It's blended. Okay? Alright, so now, I already told you about the trees. A couple trees. Just dropping stuff all over this roof. We're going to say it's from the peak down. Or we'll let a little run to that side, but most of it's going to hit this side. Okay? So again, we'll come in here with our smaller brush. And we're going to go a little bit darker in this area. We're going to go considerably darker, because we are going to lay the paint on here pretty heavy. Because this area really needs to show that this big old tree has been working it over pretty good for years. Okay, let's go over to about there. And again, I'm going heavier than I was before, but I'm still not full on wet painting. Okay, this brush is not full of paint, because as soon as I do that and hit it, I lose the color underneath. So you'll notice I'll drag a little paint out, wipe a few times, stop and take a look. Okay. Alright, keep going, drag the paint down until we continue to get it, because this has been going on this corner of this house for years. Okay, and this stuff is run all the way down the roof. Now as we go outwards, as the tree starts to grow, this is not going to be as bad out here. So as our brush dries, as we paint, we'll just drag it a little bit, and again, just like we did every other time, let it fade away. Okay, so there we go. And turn this directly so you can see it. So we've taken our dark brown and we've basically darkened this side over, okay? And you can see right here, this board on off, it starts to fade away. Alright? And again, we've gone top to bottom because we want the tree to have worked this entire corner of this roof for a while. So what I'm going to do is do this side, but I'm not going all the way down, okay? Because the tree is on this side of the house. But a little bit of it will hit the peak and come down this way. Okay, sorry, I accidentally hit the thing and shut my connection off. Alright, so we're continuing to work this corner of the roof, the top down from where a little bit of tree sap, and we're going to just roll it right up to here and just get the very tip of the roof. That's the limits of how much damage our sap has done to this side of the roof. Again, not going to be as bad as the other side. Okay, we're going to take our good dry stiff brush, blend this puppy right out. And it's like that. Poof. There you go. Blend it. Okay, so now we're going to start to darken that, because as time wears, sap will lighten in color as the sun fades, but new sap will continue to fall, and the newer sap will be darker. So we're going to throw some black in our brown here. A little bit of other paint. More of a brownish gray mixture that we ended up with. There we go. And again, dabble the paint across the top. Now this time, I'm going to use this brush, put it on a little bit wetter. Okay. Again, we're just working to the lighter end. And we're going to stop a little bit before we get to where we stop the brown. And begin to pull down. Okay. And there is where there's newer sap on our roof. So we'll work that in a little bit with this brush. Again, pulling her down, fading it in. Alright, now I want to put a little bit more on here to continue to darken this area. Because as I have said, this big old tree that lives over here has been working this thing for years. Alright. And as you can tell from the sound, kind of scrubbing this paint into the area. Let me just show it back. Okay. Let's get you a more direct look at what we're looking at right there. And you can see that we've added some darker color. Okay. We're going to continue to add a little bit more in some spots. This board here I do not think is dark enough all the way down. Let it run out. This board here is going to run a little bit lower, or not quite as low. And this one here until we fade it out. We need to get more on this side. Okay, again, remembering that the reason it's fading this way is because the tree is growing. The smaller limbs right here, they're not really dropping all that much. Okay, take this brush, into our dry brush, a little bit stiffer. Remember what I said about not using your good brushes. Okay. I have no problem tearing this brush up when it's in a pack that's $6 for 20 brushes. Whatever them are. I'm not quite as cheap as the plastic ones with the black bristles that you get in the grade school. But they're not no sable-haired oil artiste brush that cost you $20 all by itself. Alright. Grab the bottom, fade her out. Take what paint we've picked up from this brush, work it out into this area. Alright, see if we can get you a really good look. Okay, you can see how this part of the roof has gotten considerably darker than the rest of this. Now we will darken this a little bit more as we go, but we'll use a grayer color and not such a dark color as we did here. Okay, now I'm just going to spin this around just like we've been doing. Put just a tad bit across the top here. Not very much at all. You can see I'm just kind of getting right at the ridge line. Get it a little wet with some paint. Pull this down a little bit further. There we go. Now, and there's our roof there. Okay. Now we're going to go to the next step, which is an even darker color. And we're going to go almost straight black. Very, very dark gray color here. Okay. Not quite pure black. And we're going to put it on with this stick. Okay. What we're going to do, we're going to dabble the paint across the roof here, like this. Now we're going to take our brush that we've been dry brushing with, pull her down. Again, pulling from the top to the bottom. Lightening the effect as we go forward. Now we take our stiffer brush, and this brush is dry and it's so stiff it's almost scraping the paint. That's what you want to do when you're trying to fade her in. And there you can see we got darker. Okay? This is also going to put just the tiniest amount on this side. Just like that. You can see that I barely put any on there at all. And if you get a spot like this one here that's heavier, dab it, move, then come back. As your brush starts to dry out, then come back. Pick a little more of the paint up, move it. Come back, pick a little more of the paint up, drag her out just a little. And we don't want to go very far down the roof. Fade it forward. Set that brush to the side. A good stiff brush. work her in. And there we go. Okay, so we're going to do the same effect because I said there was a tree that was going to live up on this corner of the house. Okay? But what we're going to do is, where'd my brush go? Yeah, got to retrieve my brush, we'll be right back. Okay guys, we're back. Gone through and done the rest of the staining for the sap. I've also took, in the gray color that we used yesterday, which is this pewter gray, I dry brushed it using this big brush all over the entire roof to help give it a darker, more aged look. So, the entire roof has been done that way. Hopefully you can see that. Get you a little bit closer. You can see the aged color in the roof, and you can see the graduations and the differences in the shades where we put the light and the dark, and we use the gray in the end to blend it all together and work it into one continuous piece. Okay. The last thing we're going to do today that I'm going to show you before we go through the overall finished product is a streaking effect. Now streaking is going to come from the top down, and we're not going to do the whole roof, we're going to lay it on the top, bring it down. So what I've done is I've made a mixture of, this is about 1 part black to about 2 parts green and about 4 parts water. Maybe not even that much. Okay, I don't want it to drip off the brush, but I don't want solid paint. What we're going to do is take this and dip it, dab it, right along the top of the roof like that. And as you can see, it's a little thin, but this brush here, we were dry brushing with earlier, we'll get it a little wet. I'm going to take the water mostly out of it. We're just going to pull. Not going to push, not going to try and drag, we're going to let the brush do the work. Okay, and we're just going to let it take that color and pull it down. We want the concentration of the streaks to be at the top and work their way down. Alright, do just small sections at a time because you do not want to get to the point where this dries and you end up with this green stripe on the roof. Okay, so about 3 sections of roof at a time. If your brush here gets a little dry, go in and wet it down. Again, and let the brush do the work. Pick the paint up, pull it down, let the brush put it where it wants. Because you don't want an even coat. Okay? Get the brush a little wet. Knock a lot of the water out of it. Didn't quite get enough water out of it. Now, on this structure, I'm just doing this effect with paint, okay? You could do it with a lot of aftermarket, not really aftermarket, but there's companies that make stuff for scale models to do this effect with, and it's a enamel type stuff, and I'll show you that here in a minute because I happen to have some for my scale models. But it's not cheap stuff, and where this is going to be outside, you may not want to expand that. Maybe a little more water. little too much. I'm going to pull that one out. And this effect is going to be subtle. Okay? This isn't something you're going to see. But really, if you can see this from 5 feet away, honestly, you're out of scale, to be truthful with you. Okay? You can see a great big streak running down your roof from halfway across your layout. Your streak is way too big. Okay? Because remember, you want this house to look like it would look like if you were 4.5 inches tall, standing next to it. Not 5 foot tall, 5 to 6 foot tall, standing over top of it. Okay? So we'll let that dry. Okay. This side has already been done. Oop. We got a little that ran over. Pull her down. Okay. This side I already did with the streaks. You can kind of see them running down the board. Right. I also took this English ivy green, and remember, this is the north side of my house. So what I said about the moss and stuff, being in a mountainous forest region, this is going to be cooler and it's going to be damp. Okay, so this side will grow a little bit of moss and stuff on it. So I very lightly took my big brush and dry brushed some green down this roof. Now, as I went this way, I feathered the color out, because remember, my chimney is either going to be here or back here, and the heat will kill that. Okay? Now, the effect is greater along the bottom here. You can see right here. Okay? Because as the water comes down off the roof and it runs over this edge and drips off, it's actually going to wick a little bit of water in the ends of these boards back up. And that moss is going to grow stronger here and work its way up. Now, I did move it into the area here. Okay? But as you can see, dark, feathered out to light. And then lighter up here, feathered down. Okay? But not as strong. Also, in front of the porch, we'll put her up here where we can see her. In front of the porch, where the house makes this joint. Okay, this is going to be a wet spot in here. Okay, remember, my house is old. Okay, flashing and all that stuff wasn't, a big thing back then. Okay, so you're going to get moisture in this joint, and it's going to grow moss. Okay. So, but it's going to grow here as it moves out to where the sun can shine down on the roof. That is not going to grow. Alright? So, I'll try and get some photographs of this whole thing as it sits now and put them at the end of this video or on a separate slideshow. Okay? And we will see you tomorrow night when we start to move to the walls of the house. Alright? Have fun. Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and make a comment and tell me what you think. Okay? Catch you next time. Hi guys, Chris here. Okay, one quick thing that I want to ask you is you may have noticed that tonight's video was a little bit brighter. Okay, I noticed that it's dark in here because I have task lighting. I don't have a lot of overhead lighting. But a friend of mine mentioned using the reflective lamps that I can clamp in different locations to get the light where I want it. So there's two of them over my head. Okay, if it helped you out to see where we're doing better, if the light was too much or the glare, let me know, okay, because I'm trying to get everything adjusted to where I can get a good video and make things where you can see them and enjoy it. Alright, thank you for your help, and we will catch you next time.